Night second place finisher. Plenty of fans here, Brett, and a solid second place finish.
Yeah, I got to shout out the Turn 2 Terror Boys over there. They're all a bunch of good guys to hang out with, talk to. I really like them.
What's going on, Turn 2 Terribles? It is February 27th, 2023, fresh off of Icebreaker weekend. We are rolling here in PA, so things are great and back to normal. We want to thank you all for joining us tonight. We got a great show planned. We got Matt Campbell and Freddie Rahmer on the night. Both had hell of a good weekend. And yeah, guys, how you guys doing, Chris and Jay-Z?
I'm great. We had come off race yesterday. That was a fun day. All three of us got together there a little bit. And Thursday night, spent the night tailing around with Jay-Z and Lincoln Speedway. That was a fun time.
Yeah, it was a hell of a weekend. Kind of couldn't have worked out more perfect with just my little world. Schedule wise, I got to see a race Thursday and Sunday, and was out Friday and Saturday out of town, so it worked out perfect.
Yeah, you planned
And
that perfect.
honestly, the weather was perfect for both days. We had very different tracks. We had very different racing styles. So can't ask for much more. It was a huge success for Lincoln Speedway all the way around, I believe. It was great racing. And, I can't ask for much more to open the season around here.
Yeah, I would say before we start, let's give a nice little clap for Lincoln for taking a shot on Thursday, and that place was packed. I wish I was there with you guys, but I had to work and I couldn't make the drive. But Sunday was great, beautiful weather. That track was mint. It was really good for the feature. So it was a good time. So I'm glad that things are starting to get back in full swing as long as Mother Nature cooperates. It's snowing here where I'm at, so just goes to show how
raining down my way pretty good. So I know Matt's dealing with that a little bit.
Yeah,
down his way, he's got some storms rolling through.
So yeah, before we bring Matt on, please like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It's been great, all this stuff with you guys, all the fan participation and everything. It's been a lot of fun talking to a lot of you guys and during and after the show. So just keep letting everybody know and keep telling us what you want to hear, man. It's been fun hearing all your suggestions and everything. So we'll try to bring you guys what you want.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely during these interviews, put the questions, comments in there. We'll try to get to them, but also I think already seeing some of them rolling in with Bill Rocky talking about packed house. Thursday night was indeed a packed house at Lincoln, and it was on flow. So take that for what it is. And I don't know. We'll get into it later, but that's just that's an interesting thought. And I think Sunday was a good crowd as well. I think good on Lincoln for taking the shot on that Thursday night show, and it paid off for him big time.
Yeah, and I think we'll get some of the perspective here from Matt and Freddie a little bit, and then we'll kind of have our own perspective as the fan and get their perspective as the drivers a little bit. So this is kind of the perfect mix of guests tonight. They were both there both days. Obviously, we have Thursday night's winner here. Matt Campbell had a great run both nights. Unfortunately, had a flat tire here on Sunday, but either way, a great start to his season. So we'll get kind of a perspective, a little bit of both, and get the input from all of you guys.
So let's bring him in. He's going to be calling in here with his phone, so hopefully we don't have too much interference here. I know he's dealing with the storm, like you said. So let's bring him on in. Matt Campbell. Matt, thank you for joining us, man. How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Hey, welcome to the show, man. We really appreciate you coming on, spending some time here after an extended 2-day race weekend, but two races nonetheless. And I know as we've talked about this with ourselves a little bit, and as we get into the season and we want to continue this on Mondays, Mondays can be hard days depending on how the weekend went for the driver we plan to have on. So we may be last minute changes. We did last week, obviously. With Freddie a little bit, the Thursday kind of moved the schedule around. So, again, appreciate your time here. So, I know a little bit about your background, but I don't think I know even nearly as much as some of the other guys we've had on. You kind of burst onto the scene in 410s in my world, my radar when you got here to the 410 level. But tell us a little bit about your history, your family's history in racing, if any, and how you got where you're at today.
Yeah, so I do have a little bit of a long racing background in my family. I mean, nothing like crazy. That my great-grandfather, he ran his own late model back through the 80s. And that's actually where my dad first got around racing, and got the whole interest in it. He was working on his late model. So my father, he ran go-karts at Hunterstown in the 80s, late model for 1 year, and he didn't have money at the time for it. He moved on. So when I was 5, hey, let's go racing. You're old enough now, let's do it. So we started a kid kart at Hunterstown. That would have been 2004, and we ran them for about 3 years. Got the stats up here. We had 16 feature wins this year in a kart, and it was 28 third and third. So we did that for a while. Then once my dad didn't like the I kind of really cut my teeth. I ran the Lincoln Grove indoor track, won the championship my first year there, and we had 7 wins that season, and finished second the following year. Once we jumped up to 270s, we had like 12 motor failures, and plus all the rain, which is a horrible year, and was able to win at the end and then get a couple good runs. Did that up until 2013. The end of that year would have been when I first got in a 358, and was Lincoln in Trailways because I wasn't old enough to run the Grove. I was 15. I had to be 16 to run the Grove. That's actually one of like my highlights I look back to in our 9th and 10th race ever in a 358. We won Friday at Trailways at Lincoln. So that was always something that was I look back on. So yeah, we did well in the 358. Knew we wanted to go farther, and then made the jump to the 410. Tore up a little bit of stuff. It's learning. It happens to anybody new getting in it. No, yeah, and that's kind of what landed me here.
So we've had a few comments here. I think the video and the audio are both cutting out a little bit. Are you on your phone, Matt? So if you want to turn off just the video part of it, and we'll just do audio, we'll just try that. Maybe that's some bandwidth. We can just do audio if you turn off your camera. Just.
So, looking at Ron Rutherford here at Fawn Grove service, he gets it.
So actually, it was funny. We were chatting here for everybody kind of watching. We were chatting right before that came on, and I live in Redline, Windsor area, and Matt's in Fawn Grove, so I should have just had him up here at the house, and we did this together from my computer. But I don't even think I realized it. He's down my direction. So
See how he is now. How you now,
yeah,
Matt?
so Matt, you kind of went through the history there from 270s, and you've kind of won at every level, and you're a 410 winner as well. So, you know, you kind of rose through the ranks fairly quickly there to where you're at now, and your 410 career sort of been uh, you know sort of like the football team with different offensive coordinators, with a lot of them as throughout their career. So, kind of what's the ride been like in the 410s as you've gotten here?
It's been a learning curve, that's for sure. You know, I 2017, I ran 16 at the Grove and 58s at Lincoln that year. So 2017 would have been our first full season. Learned a lot. And we if things that ever happened, I got to win a race at Williams Grove with my dad, which was and we're able to pick that off at the end of the year. Almost got a second one. I got out drove, but I can't buy that. That's time. So yeah, definitely. I mean, a couple years now, if you think of it, but it takes a while to get good in this sport. It's hard. There's a lot of good racers out there who have still, and that's like I just said a second ago. Experience, it takes seat time. So one thing I'm thankful for is in the last years now, I've been able to get more seat time than I did the previous three. When we lost 2018, we kind of really cut back, did what we were able to do, and had a lot of people helping to make that happen, just like I am now. And my main thing is trying to, and my goal like this year, we can run 30 shows. Stay out there every week. I think that's the big thing. Really keep improving myself.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're getting a little bit more audio than maybe getting all the way out to Facebook and other services. So, Matt talked about just seat time, right? 6-7 years now, and seat time means everything. And I think that's a consistent theme across what we've talked to guys, especially at the 410 level. We've seen it at the 358 level, and we've talked to some guys like, I got to get in the seat, and the one thing that we find at the 410 level is it takes time. There aren't it's a very small percentage of guys who win a race in a 410 anyway, let alone win a lot. So, seat time is everything. And I've always kind of paid attention to your career, but this past season, I think I was a little closer to things than I have been in previous years. I know Ron a little bit and kind of followed the story there with building his team. And this is 2 years in a row where you're driving in a car that's a startup team and having some success. Last year I know there were some ups and downs as far as consistency, but the car was fast. That was an overwhelming theme for me watching. you know, what do you think it takes to put a car together and jump out of the box and go fast? Is there a secret sauce to it that you say, hey, I've struggled and I've been successful, but to come out of the box in a brand new team, what do you think? What do you think the combination is there?
I really think it comes down to what the driver likes. I've after kind of getting into different style chassis, style setups, and working with different people as well, wrenching a car, you kind of learn what you prefer. And I think the biggest thing that I hear people tell, driver comfort. If the driver is comfortable and trusts the car, he will run it harder than another car he could be in. So, yeah, I think the big thing, the Maxim chassis have worked really well for me. That's what I grew up on from, and I got a good crew chief. Got to give a shout out to, and Kirk he's our shock builder as well in house. So, me and him really gelled together well. And, when I tell out on the track, it's the same as what he saw. So, getting the shocks right for what I like too as a driver. And that's a big thing nowadays. LG has really come a long way in the last couple of years, and the nowadays, it's not like with the way the rules are, they can go out and buy the same stuff as the guy next to them. But it really comes down to are giving you a little bit of an edge over the guy next to you.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. And I think what you said there about that driver comfort and being able to drive harder when you're comfortable. And I think, there's a lot of guys that you can almost see when they're comfortable. And I think you're that guy. You're one of those guys where it's like, holy shit, he's ripping, right? And that's comfort. So even if the car isn't the fastest, but you're comfortable, you drive it harder and get that little bit extra out of it. And I noticed that from you the last couple of years of like flashing, like, whoa, this dude's sending it, right? So and again, I think there's a combination there where there's, maybe some veteran guys who can take an uncomfortable car, and do okay. But there's, I think maybe that's just an age or maturity thing where it's like, hey, if I'm comfortable, I'm going to drive the piss out of it. So it makes a lot of sense to me. So with the driver comfort, and you kind of have a little bit of a playbook on what you like to feel, what do you think the tire situation is going to, any thoughts or crystal ball predictions on what the tires are in a few weeks, what that could change for you?
I'm not sure yet. Anybody I've talked to, we're really, nobody has no heads may things be. So, I'm not too worried on going into this blind. They don't know how they'll change the cars or adjust your setup to make up for the difference in the tires. It's just something you're gonna have to take, learn off it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see if how much it changes the cars.
So you you got to get your season started off on Thursday with a top 5, and then you had another pretty solid run going on Sunday. How much confidence does that give you here, your first run in the car, starting off the season, a lot of unknowns, and to come out and have such a strong run against such a strong field of cars?
I was extremely happy with this weekend, especially Thursday. Both days we had a car that drove great. To run up front with them guys. Unfortunately, Sunday, bad pill draw. We had to work our way from the back. And if I didn't try to climb the wall on 2 weeks, we might have been up to a top 10 there. But it happens. It's beginning of the year. Right now, I'm kind of getting back in the groove of things, which would take a race or two. But, I think the car is doing exactly what I want right now. My thing is to just race and try to put us in a good position in qualifying in the heat to in the future.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, taking that. So Thursday night you fell back to 11th, I saw, and drove back up in there. How, with a new team starting it out, do you drive differently than you would say drive for somebody else, or how do you approach that? I know some guys had different thoughts. We talked to Chase a few weeks ago. He goes, "No, I'm here to win." Other guys like Jordan Givler talking about more of it's a business and you have to be there to race to get the seat time. So how do you approach that?
Well, definitely, I know the first few years, father, I kind of drove a little more to the conservatives. Really feel like I went 100% there. We were consistent running a top 10 at Lincoln. I don't feel like ran the car as hard back then as I do now. I think we did some different stuff, and it got my confidence up. And I got good guys working with me right now. I'm truly blessed to have the team that I have helping me. I trust them guys with my life, and I think, yeah, that is some truth to that. I mean, when you're playing, you're definitely going to run it harder. But I told myself going into this, we're here to win. I want to run the car as hard as I can. Happens. It's racing. I mean, we're not out there going on a Sunday drive. You're going to have accidents. It's just you got to be able to bounce back from that.
Sure. You said so this year, Jimmy. I'm going to take your question. So Matt, you were talking 30 some races. Your goal for this year, or what's your schedule looking like for this year, and where?
Pretty much just going to run the entirety of the Lincoln schedule.
Nice.
Our plan is we want to see where we can end up and maybe try to run in the front of the championship. Of course, rain outs and stuff like that. That'll open up some, maybe a couple shows, but primarily my focus is on Lincoln this year for just this season. If we can get some more support on board with the car and get the right people helping, we can grow the team and branch out more. That's the goal. And then maybe we can get to be in a team a week next year and just try to continue to grow it over time.
That's awesome. Jimmy, do you have some?
What do you think about the crowd on Thursday night? Because there's a lot of unknowns going into it. Lincoln announcing it so early, to all the flow talk and everything like that. How shocked were you, or not shocked were you, that it was so packed on Thursday night?
Oh, I thought it was awesome. I mean, when do you get February? You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, even if I was that, no, it's always great to see people at the track. The fans support us, which helps keep us out there racing. The fans really are. So, yeah, no, it was great. Look out there and see, packed infield, packed stands. You would have think it was a, middle of the summer outlaw race.
For
made
sure.
you feel good to be back.
Yeah, I know for me, I got there at 20 of 5, and the parking lot felt a lot like a summer outlaw race. Like that party was going on out there too. So that was cool. What did that do for you though, getting your car ready and being ready to race on such short notice? Did that kind of throw you into a little bit of a tizzy, or like, how'd you approach that?
So we were primarily almost the whole way done. I mean, we had there anyway, so when they bumped it up, we just kind of had to move our schedules around for work to make it there. But other than that, I mean, really, it just took 1-2 extra days to get ready. But we were pretty much the whole way there. We kind of knew what direction that was going to be our starting weekend. So, one thing, we were early. So thankfully that had, hey, I can't blame them for, the weather was
Sure.
perfect. I think it made for a great night. I think the racing that night too, a lot of passing in the feature. So, and definitely they did something like that again, we'd be there for sure. You got when it's the early season like this.
For sure. Jimmy, you want to go to the chat?
Yeah, we're gonna go to the chat here. We got
his crew is flaming the hell.
Yeah,
out.
we got Kirk DeWeese in here saying, don't need to see his ugly mug anyhow. That was a while ago. Talk about the impact Kirk has had on you.
He me and him talk well about feet, and he's looked out for me for a long time. And he, like I said, a good crew chief and driver combination, I think really, and me and him have always worked well together. So my rookie year, he was with me and my dad helped me to get my first win there at the Grove. And pretty much all my wins but one through my whole 410 career.
So sad.
And
I remember talking to him, and he's kind of followed you wherever you kind of went. He was going to be involved in some way, from my understanding.
yeah, and it's crazy because he never knew who we were when we first met. Crew chiefing. Actually, no, he was I'm sorry, time, and my dad had I don't know if you guys remember, it was probably back in 20. Had Jack Hodenshield in the car for 4 Speed Week shows, and I remember we had no crew chief, and just come to somebody I knew somebody, calling Kirk, and he said, "Okay, yeah, I'll do it." Because him and Jack worked together since then. We've been friends since. So, things just have a funny way.
Right. What else you got in the chat there, Jimmy?
Becky Robinson on YouTube says, "Who's your favorite fan?" In parentheses, Seth. Can you explain that one a little bit?
I think Seth might be asking the question.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah, you could definitely my number one fans. They got to see them both nights, and they met them back at a Williams Grove Outlaw show. They brought me a plate of food from their cookout, which was pretty cool. And yeah, nice people. He definitely is up there, and they probably number one fan. Good people.
One more question from the chat here. This is from one of the original Turn 2 Terrible, Mr. Josh Aird. It's good to see him back around here. We're gonna have to get him back on the show one day. But he asked, how much changes on the car running in February versus running in the summer? What adjustments do you make?
Well, like on shows like Sunday, the daytime track, you gotta, for that compared to what we're dealing with in the middle of the summer. At Thursday, it wasn't as my heaviest stuff for an icebreaker. It was actually opened up and got pretty racy, which was good to see. Really not much difference between the months. You what your chassis likes and what works with your chassis combination. Just adjust to what the driver's feeling in the car. So yeah, pretty much didn't really do too much different even for the dry slick on Sunday compared to Thursday. More aggressive for the dry slick, but no, overall, really from when you get there at the beginning of the night with a baseline that works, and just tune the car from.
Cool. Sure. And one more comment here. Kirk says his phone sucks. When he calls me, it does the same crap. Is that true?
Sounds like it's true.
If I win one, I can buy a new phone. How about that?
There you go.
There you go.
So
those shocks figured out.
The question for you. So if you had to define your driving style, do you kind of put yourself in a way where you have a favorite place to run on the track, or is it sort of go where they're not at any point, at any place, at any track?
Really, I mean, I told me like, oh, he loves the hammer at the top, and yeah, I mean that happens a lot of times. I pretty much judge, and I like to go out there and look at the track before I go out. What points on the track still got some moisture in it. See where I can run, and pretty much car setup when I get out there. I know if where I couple laps, where I can run the best, where the car will make the most speed, and pretty much if you're running where you're good at, you'll pick up, get rolling, and when you get to cars, just try to get past them as quick as you can. But I like to try to be able to move around anywhere I can on the racetrack. I don't like to be just pretty much run where that for the time.
Question I ask everybody every week. We'll keep you moving here. You got to name 2 drivers here, okay? Somebody that you love racing around. You have a great time racing around all the time, whether that's racing clean, you just have a good time. And then somebody who is just a thorn in your side to race with every week.
Oh, that's a tough one. One guy I gotta say I really like racing around is Danny Dietrich. Danny, my whole career. He if he hears you out there, he'll leave your room. I've had a lot of fun sliding and racing with him. He's just a good guy to race around. He's, when he's mine, and I'll go wheel with him anytime, and have not a doubt something bad's gonna happen. And that's how a lot of racing with them outlaw guys and all too are. Like experience, they've been around a while. They race you hard, but they race. And on somebody putting a thorn in me, I don't want to make a comment about that one.
Okay, so let me rephrase it a little, because we have not had any drivers pass on this question yet. It doesn't have to be a personal thing, okay? It doesn't have to be a dirty thing. It could be someone that's hard to pass, someone that is always kind of like unpredictable maybe, or something like that. Not a judge of character or talent, just someone that's always kind of like, man,
in your way.
You're running up on this person, or you're starting near them, and you're like, man, this is going to be a battle. I know it.
It could be they're doing exactly what they need to do to make sure you don't have fun passing them.
Oh, honestly,
or you can just plead the fifth. That's fine.
A guy like that, shoot. Let me think about this one for a second.
It would be epic if we came back with, well, it's Danny Dietrich.
I mean,
I can't say that, man. He knows
that's just how good Danny is.
He is hard to pass. Honestly, and I'll say, because thinking about Lincoln every week, honestly, Freddie's a guy who's hard to pass. If you're starting, and it's you or him trying to get up to a final transfer. I mean, he knows how to get around. He knows how to take the air. If he gets the roll on you, go down and get the air off you on the next corner and kind of mess up your momentum. Really good at Lincoln. I mean, he's pretty good at anywhere he goes. But Lincoln, he gets around that place pretty good. I gotta say, he's a tough guy to pass there.
Fair enough. Chris.
So I'll go before Jimmy here. So my question, Matt, if you looking ahead at any sprint car race you could win, if you had to pick one that would mean the most to you, probably anywhere in the country, what race would that be?
Shoot, how about say there's quite a lot of definitely the Dirt Classic has always been on my list. Open.
That one's crawling up the list, it seems like.
Yeah, Dirt Classic's crawling up.
Definitely. Dirt Class has always been one of my races I always want to win. And I mean, to win a two, that's always something I think anybody in sprint car racing would love to be able to have that pin on their hat.
For sure.
We do got a question here from a fan in the audience, John Sertich. I hope I got the last name right. And this would kind of roll into what we were going to ask you anyway. Hey, Matt, what would be a realistic goal as far as sponsors go for the year? I know you said you're still looking for sponsors, and this is a good time too that we would ask you, who do you want to thank? Who's helped you get there? So get to this point so far.
Yeah. Really, we're we're looking good for this year. We need sponsors definitely to help grow and help us do more and stay competitive every week at the track. You know, I got to go to Brent from Color Wheel, Florida America, out of Hanover, PA. Guy, and he's really been a big help in helping us get to the track here. You know, as well as Steve Clayball, who's actually my car chief on the car, and those amounts to help us be able to be here. I mean, there's a ton of people that help to make this happen. Kirk DeWeese is one of them. You know, of course, got to thank Jason at Max Stack. Got to thank Dwayne Watson as well. You Automotive. Yeah, there's helping Stevie Carr, who also who I've been friends with for some big helping us as well. Yeah, we just we want to grow it. You know, we want to get more sponsors on board to work with us and be competitive every week. That's really what the sponsors are what makes us. You know, future's looking bright right now, and can't wait to see how it ends up here towards the end of the year.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And you know, and everybody
and
starts
also
up their
I gotta
own.
give thank you too. I can't forget and apparel. So he did our wrap on our car, and I mean, phenomenal. Really, the different vibrant greens he brought out on the car. I mean, I had a lot of compliments coming through the pits, which is nice. You know, people thanking, saying, you know, great things about the car. So I gotta thank Dustin, you know, for putting in the work, helping us with getting this car lettered and helping us with this season. So yeah, don't think I'm getting anybody else there. I give a thanks to CSI Shocks product sponsors. So yeah, goes.
So I'll tell you what, it's good to hear, you know, a startup team saying, hey, you know, we always need to fill up the car with sponsors, right? That's never going to change. It's never going to end. But it's good to hear that you have, you know, some resources to be able to have, you know, hopefully put together a season, get some seat time, and move forward. So I'll send you with some homework. Jack has a question out there. Jaden wants to know if you're going to be at the Grove this year. So I'm going to put you some homework, Matt. You got to go to Facebook on our page, comment, respond to these guys. I'll do it that way. We'll have you just respond to them on Facebook if you could, whether your team page or your page. Find the stream, go back and answer these questions for these guys. We'll get you out of here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
We're going to get you back here after a win. So when you win on the weekend,
maybe next time, maybe I'll just ride up the red line. We'll do just a lot.
Let's go
up there. Then
we'll come right here to my house.
We'll be rolling around the pits too, so we'll try to hook up with you at some point this season again for sure.
Yeah, cool guys. I appreciate it. And just again, at the end of the day, got to thank Pickles and Steve. You know, they're my guys. They've been there. They're really a big help for me this year. So just shout out to them guys again. I was just helping to make this deal happen. And you know, I'm blessed to be able to be out here and just hope to make the best of it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Matt. Look forward to seeing you around, buddy.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Matt. Matt Campbell, everyone. Thanks for sticking it out. I know that was kind of tough to listen to at times, but we did the best that we could. Matt, thank you, Matt, for being pretty flexible and trying the best he could with the situation there. We'll have to figure that out for next time.
Very, very engaging, though. I think
yes.
Once we got him going there, it was really interesting stuff. I look forward to seeing what him and that team's going to do this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
they
came
really
out
good.
swinging sharp this weekend, and that's exciting. It's exciting to have a new team and a guy like Matt that can wheel us on pitch. Like that's going to be good as the season goes on. I think wins are in their future.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And won 2 last year. Two races, I believe. I think I was there for one of the two. I want to say because I still have a picture of Ron Rutherford in the back of a pickup coming into the victory lane with his hand up in the air. I got a picture. It was pretty cool. Um, no, so like super encouraging to come out and have the weekend he did. And if we look here, I think Freddie is here and ready, but we'll just take a minute here. I looked at a couple of those kind of teams that kind of got themselves going this year, right? Whether it's a new combination or a new team completely. Chase Dietz went out, won a heat race, got in a redraw. First laps on the track, right? Goes out and wins. Matt Campbell has a great weekend in his new deal. There were a couple things that, new combinations. Devin Borden with the Shuttlesworth team, Stamen Shuttlesworth, that's a new combination, but it's not. They had a great weekend. Justin Peck, obviously, that's not a new combo, but like, it's encouraging to see some of the strength we have with some of the newer teams, newer combinations, because we got to think a bigger picture, right? This isn't about just Lincoln this weekend. We got the Outlaws coming to town in March in Pennsylvania. So, we ride or die posse, right? So it can't hurt to have more competitive, strong teams ready to go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we gotta get rolling here. We've been the posse's really been taking it to the Outlaws here the past couple years when it was kind of not that way for a little bit, for very little bit. But yeah, the more seat time these guys can get and get their bugs worked out and get rolling here, the better we can expect the posse to do against the Outlaws for sure. We want to bring Freddie on now.
Yeah. Hey, next guest. Not a secret.
Next guest. Yeah, big top secret. He's waiting in the back here. We're going to bring him on in. Needs a little introduction. Mr. Freddie Rahmer. Freddie, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, no worries. Thanks for having me. How's everybody doing?
We're great.
Man, we are excited. Had a good weekend. We got to see some racing. We got to see you guys do your thing. We had great weather. We weren't completely freezing our asses off, so that's a bonus in February in Pennsylvania. So, first of all, congratulations on Thursday. That was an ass whooping. In my opinion, you had to drive your tail off, but through lap traffic, you were gaining ground on second place through lap traffic, and that doesn't happen a lot when we get to lap traffic around here. So, let's just start with Thursday, man. Like, could that have gone any better? Was there anything that didn't go right, from the drive to the track to the wrong beverage getting served to you? I mean, did it go as right as it looked to all of us?
It was a smooth night. Getting with things, and getting back up to speed in the car and getting comfortable. We're fortunate to draw well in the heat race and good. Felt comfortable, and we were pretty fast in warm-ups and stuff. Matt drew a good pill I guess I drew for the feature, but I got the lead pretty early and felt real comfortable the whole race. And this is with all the lap cars, but the car was good, a good balance, and a lot of fun, when it's like that. But that went real smooth, and first went out of the way, and looking for a lot more, and for Rich and a car and everything. So that was pretty sweet for sure. We did, but we're still got a fast car and just didn't make quite all the right adjustments there.
So Freddie, what I'm gonna have you do, we kind of just did with Matt. I'll have you, if there's a separate button for your audio and video, we'll just kill your video. Might just have your audio because it's not matching up. So we can just do audio. So if you kill the camera, we'll just keep kind of rolling along here.
Just kill the
camera.
Yeah, just the camera part.
Perfect. All right, there it is.
So that might match up pretty well with it throws off my brain even when I see you moving your mouth and your audio is coming in, and I don't know if it's before or after, but it's all good, man. So so I'm going to actually go back and kind of start a little bit. And we had your brother on here a few weeks back, and we got some really good insight on kind of his upbringing and his version of not his version of it, but his view of growing up, right? And you guys are a racing family through and through. That's not a secret. I think everybody knows at this point. So tell us a little bit about kind of your experience growing up with your dad being Fred Rahmer and growing up as a watching dad race to transitioning to race car driver yourself. Tell us a little bit about kind of your history and your youth to get here now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's the only way we know because it's it's the only. Nothing. I mean, it was the best. Really, like as far as I could remember, weekend um with the same group of families and got either their parent and like Todd Schaefer, and we hung out with Doug Ash's family and Joe the Kaufmans, all good people, and uh, at the time, I was racing for people. Joe Horace Hamilton, a couple different guys there. No, just really good time. And uh, during the summer with no school and stuff like that. But as long as I can remember, when I was about 10 or 11 or something, I started to help my dad as much as I could. Start with little things. If it starts with cleaning or whatever, and then start doing more and whatever. And I was really into that. And then, I got snuck in the pits when I could. And then eventually they let all the kids in. I mean, Lincoln, they let infants in. So that kind of so long. But no, I mean, it was great. Really liked working on the cars from then on to now and to when he stopped racing and Stevie raced for us. But didn't really even think about racing myself until later on, week to week, helping dad. And my brother and sister, family deal after the races, we would hang around at the motorhome with the other family. And I don't know, I mean, it's the best. It's hard to describe to people that aren't into racing, but we would have done without that. We got to go to Australia, Florida several times, Disney World, because it went all over the place. There's some things you sacrifice, but it makes for a good time. And I know how close our family is because of racing. So we're lucky that we grew up in part of that.
For sure, and I can say my childhood, I grew up with Rahmer on the track since I've been watching racing. Like my whole life has had a Rahmer on the racetrack, and there's a few families in Central PA that way, and it was interesting getting to hear from Brandon a little bit about sort of his racing career, right? Family, you guys are all tight, you guys are close, and like you said, and his journey through his racing career has been quite a bit different than yours, right? Like he said, I wanted to play football in the infield at Williams Grove. I wasn't interested in
Yeah,
looking at working on the car or being around the car. And he kind of said that you were sort of attached to the car. You didn't stray far from the race car if there was a race car out of a trailer. So, do you think that has helped you as a driver, or do you just think that's helped you with an understanding of the cars better to make you better as a driver, if that makes sense?
yeah, definitely. I think made it might have helped learning from starting. We didn't have much experience when we started running sprint cars at all, and some other 305s for a little bit. But in the general, some of the younger guys that are 15, 16 run sprint cars, well, they've been racing since they were 5 years old. So it was my dad did it for a living and at a high level and that he wanted to. He's passionate about it. So that was always the main concern. So we didn't even start 15 or something. But I think it helped in some ways. It or in a lot of ways, it's good to know what mechanically about. It's just learning that the difference between when to turn and being too much involved with the race car. So there's always that balance. Definitely helped in the now this year. I've had when we run our own car, so I'm excited about that to take a little bit of the weight myself, get another perspective, and pretty pumped up about that. But also had guys like Moon Byers help us and teach. But I don't think it hurts because you have to control your own destiny. So the more you can know, and if you don't have to rely on a bunch of people, and if I don't know how people grow up in racing with my father and everyone doing it. I don't know how you would race with no understanding. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to learn something along the way, I think, right? Like even if you didn't want
Right.
to, you're gonna learn something or have some sort of familiarity with it. Um, you know, have does it ever cross your mind as far as like expectations or shoes to fill? I mean, you may hear that if you're not a big social media guy that I know of. So, I think Central PA, we're passionate fans, right? Just like, you guys are a passionate family about racing. It matches up well with the passion that we have in Central PA. Have you ever throughout your career ever felt that pressure of being Fred Rahmer's son or so a certain level of pressure for expectations? I mean, is that ever something that's kind of hit you or just kind of you do you and roll?
Honestly, kind of do my own thing because times are always different. You can times or whatever, but I just do my own thing, and I know how many races my dad's won and the championships and what he's done. I luckily got to do it with him, and his last year when he was winning a bunch of races. I was younger, so it was different when I was 18 or 17 or whatever, and like we won the national open and this is his last year together. But no, I don't think about it too much. I kind of just do my own thing. You put pressure on yourself regardless of all that. I mean, you're just a peddler and being competitive, so just gonna do my thing and see where we end up week to week within reason. So we've had some success, but I think totally capable of, and hopefully we can this year with everything we got going back up. I'm pretty excited for the year, and like you guys mentioned earlier, like, and then the following weekend's the Outlaws for 2 weeks, and who knows
Right.
what the weather will be. It could be 40 degrees at night. It's very exciting time of year, and we're getting right in the thick of things. A lot of exciting stuff happening around here.
I agree completely, and I mean, it's just awesome to think the Outlaws are going to be here in March. I mean, as a fan, I can't be more excited. I mean, as a team and drivers and everything else, it might be a little stressful.
Right.
But I mean, well, like if you're at the higher levels in Central PA for a team, you're probably fairly well prepared for not just a normal weekend, but an outlaw weekend, right? So it shouldn't be much different as far as equipment this time of the year because it's not we shouldn't be short on equipment unless you just didn't get something back
I
in
think
time, right?
the
So
other unique thing is if you look at the Outlaws, how many races they're going to run before they get here, it's not many, if at
not that
all,
many.
compared to what like Freddie and our guys are going to be running against them. It's going to kind of match up. So it kind of takes our bug days are like all consecutive weeks, hopefully.
Going to be on a real even level, coming into it, I think.
Hopefully.
I mean, yeah, sort of. Brad Sweet's been racing now for 3 months or 2 months. Australia came right over to Volusia. They've had some time off. They've had a little bit of wheel time, a little bit of seat time, but having a 2-day show this weekend and definitely is a help for some of these guys just to knock the rust off. I would think. So you talked about kind of like what you have into this year, and it's hard to not be excited after Thursday, and it's your second Icebreaker win in a row. Um, but I'm a fan, and we observe, we watch, and over the last probably 3 or 4 years, I feel like you've had some of these inconsistencies a little bit, right? You're going to go on a tear and win some races, and then you have those weeks where it's like, well, man, Freddie won last week, and he's let's say it's a time trial show, and you're like the back third of time trials. I mean, have you learned some
Yeah.
things from that, and sort of what do you look to improve on? Is it sort of a whole team effort, or is it some things you've learned?
It's definitely a whole team effort. I mean, like if we're not time trial race around here, it's generally handicap. So usually starting events, so you got to race well in them and hopefully get through the heat yourself for the feature in a regular show, which I think helps you when all them other shows. But no, I mean, we'd be lying to ourselves if we to say that we should have been consistently here recently. We've been over last winter with our own car to improve on that. I hope we can right away here in the next couple weeks. I think we will be in position to, and to get better at that. Just basically get is the biggest one of the biggest parts of them time trial races. I mean, you drive right, hit the corner right, make especially and middle of the summer different. You might have to change your line depending on when you go out in time trials, which you learn watching and observations. But it's weird when I started, didn't have hardly any experience. Honestly, I timed real well right away. I think we've just got off on some of our stuff and we regrouped and hopefully to be and be in position at those shows because and who you are, it
He may have died.
Yeah, we might have lost him there.
Oh,
Oh.
but
Oh, he's still there. You cut out a little bit. You're okay now.
okay. All right. No, but like we time trial runs, and the nights we do time well, we're right in the hunt for the podium, and so just hopefully we can get it time trialed in better this year. We'll see what happens though.
Yeah, and I think when there is a time trial show, it's rarely on just a a normal weekly night, and you might be able to recover from a poor time trial, on a random night in June at Lincoln with 26 cars. When the time trials, everybody looks like, okay, posse outlaws, right? And then your guy that
Yeah.
everybody puts on the radar as far as like, hey, he's one, here we go, put Freddie in that conversation as a contender against the Outlaws, and you struggle like that, it's hard to dig out of that hole. I mean, no matter how good of a race car or race driver you are, those guys are so good. It's hard to dig out of that hole after 2 laps, and it's a shame that 2 laps set up your whole night, but that's the game that it is.
Oh, you'd be kidding yourself if not. And we didn't time well, and we had great heat races and a couple nights and got in the dash or got in position. But it's funny. My dad will tell stories when he started in late 80s and early 90s. If you were within a half a second, you were one of the boys. You were in the invert up at like an outlaw show. But if you ain't within a tenth or two, it's most nights. So like, it's an interesting deal. But I think I really believe we're going to be where we need to back in the hunt. Another exciting thing is after this weekend, like tire wise, we're probably a new tire construction after this weekend because in Central PA the tracks are given non-outlaw races, and then you have to be on this new tire. Well, like the outlaw the opener at the Grove and the port next. So once we get through this weekend, we're going to be switching to those tires, which I'm excited about. It's new to fit our program better, our setups, or whatever. Might have to adapt some to it and stuff going on. And just excited for a little bit of change with the dance race with the Outlaws here early in March, and then they come back in May, and just got to keep second year with Rich. So we know what we got more prepared this off season together, and I think we can do it in our own car. So just a couple weeks.
So with that new tire, you're not worried about it. I mean, it's exciting. Obviously, anything new is exciting, but you're not worried about that throwing off the balance of all your setup sheets or anything like that? You're just like, hey, new car, we'll figure it out, or new tire, we'll figure it out. It's not going to throw off anything, and you might have to start from scratch.
Somewhat. I mean, generally you have a base start with. Most everybody does. We're just gonna have to. I know in 2013 when we switched to the Nets last season, right away it actually was fit our deal, like really before. I can't remember the tower we were on, but so hopefully it's like that. It'll go with the punches and change to it, you know. But it's just exciting to change on that tire for 10 years. I haven't been on it that whole time. I haven't been racing that long, but you could be a little nervous. It's crazy. The first time you'll be on the tire that'll be their first time on the tire. So I don't think it's gonna be like oil. I think it's gonna, it might change the attitude of the car right away as good as that tire, or it might be better, and it might even chance more where, like back when they were in good years in I don't know if it's 2000, we were on them. I never ran them. It took the style of and go and being patient at the exit of the corner of not being a wheel spinning kind of. It took that out of it, and it was more the feel of the driver, and it did not benefit my dad's style, which is what I kind of drive like. These new tires is kind of like an old school racer kind of deal where you can't be throwing the thing around, and we'll see,
Right.
Maybe in a year from now, you know what I mean? But
Right. I think
we'll
it's
see.
interesting. You just mentioned like how your dad's driving style, and I see that with like Thursday night, how smooth you're driving it and the way you drive it. So I can see how that old style tile might just play right into your hands. So it was interesting. You talked about the A car. I know last year you guys were damn close to winning the Williams Grove Track Championship, and that must have been tough. But you said you got through the off season doing things. So how does it look as far as running Rich's 8 car versus your family 51 car? What's your schedule look like between the two?
Oh yeah, for sure. His car we're gonna run Winnie, Susquehanna. Most of their shows at Susquehanna and Hagerstown there, and then our stuff we run all the everything besides that. So Port Royal, Sealands Grove, couple Susky shows that make sense for in our car versus his. What else? If there's a Pass Valley show, we'll run that.
So Port, if we get the race in this Sunday for the opener, you'll be in the 51 car,
that'll
presumably?
Be our car. Yep. Our car, and then the next Friday, Saturday with I think there's 30 races with my dad's stuff. If we get him in, that's the schedule generally.
So my follow-up question with that is, how different is it for you to go from Rich's 8 car to the 51 car? Or is it the same because you have the same thing in both, or things like that? Like, is it different?
Yeah, almost exactly the same everything. So no, not much difference at all. It's pretty seamless or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not a big deal on that.
Right. So looking at with that too, you talked about 30 race schedule with your car, A car, high limit. Obviously Grandview.
Yep.
Just one of the races. Lernerville's a race. Are you
Bridgeport
looking at those? Bridgeport.
Definitely will be at all them shows. We like racing there. It's there. Grandview, Lernerville. I would like to go to that one. I think it's the week of the National Open. Like to travel a little bit to them races this year. Depending how we're going. Charlotte, eventually get back to Knoxville and start serving time there.
Cool.
I see where this is going.
Yeah.
You're trying to get off the porch a little bit, buddy. We like that.
Yeah.
And that would be in your 51 card, presumably, right? For any of the high limit shows in Knoxville down the road.
Yeah, it depends, on how things are going and what makes sense. and that kind of stuff. But back to that kind of thing. But the main focus is doing the best job every week, like
For sure.
from week to week. Obviously, because we have and rice for really good money, so that's the main thing. Those are just things in the back of your head.
For sure, yeah. The things that would be fun to do. Like, obviously, High Limit is intriguing with Bridgeport and Grandview being semi-local by comparison to a lot of guys, and Lernerville falling National Open Week. I could see why one wouldn't want to necessarily go do that unless they had everything, all their ducks in a row for National Open. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
So, Freddie, my question with that is, I mean, if you get off the porch and let's say you struggle, I mean, the haters are going to eat us alive here. How do you handle that? I mean, what are you going to do? Are you crying your cereal the next morning if the haters say, look, you left the porch and didn't do well?
The best way is to not on social media. So I wouldn't, it wouldn't matter, but
you wouldn't even know it, right?
Doesn't matter. He reads the newspaper and he goes, you know what? Those guys don't even
like and listen to this a little bit, and I kind of had this view a little, and again, I'm a fan. I don't know anything, but like kind of had this view of like, hey, I just do what I do, and I don't listen to the noise. I don't hear about the outside. I want to do the best I can for me, and you define that. You're not a different person this way or for that way. So it doesn't matter. It's about focusing on your stuff and what you guys have to do. And I respect that because I don't think that a lot of the world does that these days.
And,
yeah, sure.
Go ahead, Freddie.
Yeah, I mean, like if you struggle, that's just you got to be more motivated to go back and try and be better next time. Obviously, but I mean, we kind of do our own thing. Within reason, I mean, guys that are going good, you got to pay attention to what they're doing in general. But how you approach your car, you can't. You kind of have your blinders on and fine tune as best you can, And I don't know. Most of my friends are older, honestly, and a lot of it, and his friends, or which are my friends. So that makes me, I don't know, different. So I don't know, never get too caught up in all the. I don't worry about stuff that you can't control or whatever. So I don't know.
I think it's interesting too. Like now, obviously, with a couple track championships, the wins, like you have enough of a resume to be like, you can be a hater, but I'm still winning type mentality. Like I'm doing your thing. Like we saw you yesterday. Jimmy and I both were gonna come over, but you were like working on the right front, doing things like, hey, he's working, we're gonna leave him be. Like so that's really cool to see. So the only thing I was gonna say with that, with the beer can guy from Thursday night, what's that about? Did you
Sunday? Or no, that was Thursday.
Thursday. For one,
that was
I've never seen that at a sprint car race. Two, Freddie, did you even know that happened until later? And
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
It was a Coors Light or something, but I thought it. I mean,
well, they should have true
to me, respectful to Rich's car, but it don't hurt my feelings. I've seen him do it to my dad many times. But if it brings him to the races, then it's all good, I guess. It's funny how fired up they get though. Some
right.
people.
Like that turn 4, man. I didn't even realize how brutal it is for you over there. Like Thursday and Sunday both were sitting there like, damn, there's like 10 people because the stands didn't fill in yet, and Freddie's just like rolling by and they're all booing. Like, why? Why is it that way? It's rare for one of our guys to get that, which is great for the fans to be passionate about it. I just wonder from a driver's standpoint, but I mean, you've already answered it enough. Like, you're like, I'm doing my thing.
It was pretty funny on Thursday night, run at night, around here in February. That was pretty good. That was some good promoting stuff there. But these early races are draw races, typically.
Right.
And I don't usually draw well ever. We did Thursday, and we're on the pole the second heat, and I walked over after the driver's up board, and somebody was there, these couple guys, and they were like, that damn Rahmer or something. And I was standing right next to him. I was like, yeah, that son of a gun or whatever. That's just funny.
That's funny. That's awesome.
It's just funny. Meanwhile, he's just about when it comes to points racing, but it's just funny. Yeah, I mean, you gotta, it's such a serious sport. You gotta take some things in stride on
Right.
Thursday night, and
Especially when it's
it just
not involved, right? Like they're fans, like they're important, but they're not on your team. They're not like you're people that you need to support you. Like it's
right.
great.
Yeah, exactly.
The one question actually in here that I like from Josh was, growing up around it as much as you did and through basically your entire life, was there anything that maybe helped you knowledge of a track? So when I say that, I can understand knowledge of a car, some setups, some changes, kind of watching your dad go through all the spectrum of emotions and wins and losses and crashes and whatever. Do you think it helped you with any of your track knowledge when you actually got behind the wheel of a car?
I would say the only thing, I don't know about the setup stuff, but I don't know, from watching tendencies, James Grove, maybe not so much anymore now, but back in not long ago, in a feature Alpha 2, if you could stick the bottom off of 2, a tire strip width of moisture, come the end of a feature, that the guys that hit that to the front or were in the front or passing, and there was a certain line in 3 and 4 that they would, my certain guys can really shots, Kreitzy, a lot of guys can do pick up the exit. I don't know, those things you see, and when you really learn to pay order, maybe those are some things you can pick up on, that I did maybe. Setup stuff, when you get something that works pretty good or real good, or just whatever, like my dad, or when we ran with Stevie or myself, you do the same thing within like a Nats hair of any track in our area. Now they are all, but it's funny how close it's almost exactly the same. So maybe the one thing that's interesting, that helping my dad when I was older and got to be around Stevie for the couple years, wish we could still, probably some of the most fun years we had in racing being around him. One of the nicest guys, and I learned, not I would say learned almost in those couple years more off of Stevie than I did, as maybe equally from my dad, because it's different when you hear, like
Right.
it's just a
It's not
different
your parent,
perspective. So
right?
Right.
yeah,
When Stevie Smith's telling you something, and even though your dad is the Hall of Famer
Well,
that he is,
right.
it's
Meanwhile,
still
your
your
dad's
dad.
standing in
yeah,
the corner
yeah,
going, "See, I told you." He's going over there. I
yes,
told
yeah.
you this is what to do.
It just, it hits homes different. It uh yeah, that was a big, that was like when me and my brother started racing, right? We were gonna run Lincoln the first year, and we he got Stevie to drive for 3 years there, until we kind of got up to speed and got, I still wish he could still be racing, because that was so much fun, and he's such a good guy. It's no quiet person too, and hardest working guy you'd ever meet. But learned a lot off got to be around Stevie and to learn off of him at that time. I just as crucial as anything else, really.
So, speaking of your first year in 410s, and I was talking to the guys before the show tonight in the chat, and I might have my timeline off because it's been a few years. Your first year in 410s at Lincoln, did you make a World of Outlaw show that year?
It might have been like the 7th or 8th race, actually, because we had a bunch of rainouts. Didn't make the
Damn.
race. That was like winning the Daytona 500 when I did that. That was so cool.
So if I have it right, my memory serves me right. You had to come out of the B, and you were leading the B. And did you almost destroy it in 3 and 4 with like a
Yeah,
couple to go?
yeah, it was pretty, I think, and it was wet, and we timed decent, and then didn't make it in the heat, and was leading the B, maybe 4 or 5 to go, almost like spun around, or I don't know how it didn't flip over backwards or something, and did a big wheelie, and Shane Stewart went by, finished a B and ran second, and then ran most of the laps in the feature. I don't know where he ran most of the laps, but making that race was really cool. It was definitely really cool and experience level. It was, but it's funny. Somebody was talking to somebody today, and and like my dad told me when I was starting, and my brother, when you start racing so much, you get improved so much so fast within the best part of your career. Because once you get to a point, it's so small achievements. If that
it's not fun anymore.
Yes, and then like once you win your first race, it's you want to win every race. So like that time when we won the Outlaw Show was when we made the show, and then several years later we ended up winning at Lincoln. That was the best nights at the races, even to this point. Just because you did something you shouldn't have, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
It was
spinning off that.
cool.
So you've won a bunch of big races. So if you looking at races maybe you haven't won yet, what's number one on your bucket list? I mean,
any Outlaw Show is big, but would love to win an Outlaw Show at Williams Grove. Haven't done that. Honestly, anything like that.
number one on the list.
You know, but the bucket list right now is the next one. So that would be next Saturday. Any of them are good.
Well played.
But yeah. Yeah.
I like that answer.
Well played. But if you had to pick one that was like not next Saturday, it's just in
All
general.
time biggest
number
race
one on
you
your
could
list.
imagine of a sprint car. In a sprint car, what would it be?
National Open. That would be our
Yeah.
My
biggest.
guy.
That would be.
I win.
Yeah.
Chris is a big Williams Grove guy. I don't know why.
Maybe.
He's something wrong with him.
I see it from my house. That's why. And that was cherry picking actually, because I kind of figured that was gonna be the
knew
answer.
that's what it would be, right? So I do this. I don't know how many episodes you've caught, but it's my turn for my question, and it may lead into another question. We'll see here. So you get to name two drivers. You get to name somebody you love racing around. You have a great time. You know, they're predictable. Whatever the case, I don't care for whatever reason you love racing around. And also somebody that you is just a thorn in your side to race around. One time, every time, everywhere, whatever. One of each.
Oh, okay. That's a tough question.
We've heard that a lot.
Somebody like that. I don't know. I gotta think. Let me think about that. The racing with a lot. That's a tough question. In a perfect world, I don't have to race anyone, just be out in front of them. But that's not the way it
like
works.
Thursday night, just get out front, drive smooth as hell. Like, hey,
yeah.
Oh, I'm racing this myself. Forget those guys.
You know, there's a lot of good guys we get to race with, like racing somebody like Lamb, you know, Marks, Dietrich, them guys, you know, running hard and mistakes happen and you get into each other, whatever. But it's with somebody, or when you race with the Outlaws and some of their guys or the All-Stars, when your stuff's right and you're driving it and they're doing their thing, I particularly even comes to mind that I like racing with the most. It's just someone that you know they're positioned to chop you, they're going to chop you, they're going to chop you, or you're going to do the same to them. You just, or you know, it's easier to race someone that's in control than not. So anyone like that, I would say, and someone that'd be a thorn in the side comes out in mind. Honestly, not really anyone in mind for that.
Nope. Not going to work. Can't do it, buddy. Listen,
So
I'm a nobody.
The good was Danny, or Dietrich, he didn't specify, but Dietrich, Marks, Lance is smooth. Lance does
some outlaw guys. I can't let you off the hook, man. Who I call it the Ryan Newman effect, right? So of NASCAR, if you're a NASCAR guy, the guy that makes his car twice as wide and is just a pain in the tail to get around. Somebody that you know you line up near and
yeah, and this is nothing against them or anything.
Correct.
It's just
right.
Yeah, it's nothing personal. Yeah,
it's not a personal thing.
And you guys wouldn't be surprised, is probably my brother, because
I was hoping,
you know what I mean?
Brandon. Let's go. That's the answer.
Like,
that's it.
If we get together, or you want him to do well, but
Right.
when you're out there, that's probably the toughest one.
Because you're
honestly.
right, the consequences of making a mistake there's worse. Because obviously you care about that guy, and two, the team's kind of loosely connected in some way. Like you don't want to be the guy that wrecks your brother, because that makes you a real not.
I
fun guy to
remember
be around.
our first together, right? My dad was owning the cars, obviously, and we started beside each other. And before we went out, he said, don't obviously get into each other. It's like, guess what? We got into each other off the fourth turn on this.
Right. Because the natural thing as brothers growing up, I would notice, on bikes, first thing to do, bash that bike into that son bitch. So this is a natural brother thing to do. Now you're a race car, your dad's like, you boys settle down. Do not do it.
Yeah.
Promptly.
And Dad's view, you just didn't want 2 wrecked cars, right? He just didn't. Not 1 wrecked car is okay, maybe, but not 2.
No wrecked cars, no hurt kids.
And I'll tell you, I bust my brother's stones all the time, but when he pick it up another couple notches, it's like, why don't you do that every time or whatever? Pretend everything. And
every car is my car.
It's like, no, that ain't true. I almost shit when he says that, but yeah, I don't know. That's
awesome.
That one.
Okay, so Jimmy,
I don't remember what Brandon said. I don't know what Brandon said, but I think it was a half step back from that. But I think Freddie was involved in Brandon's response, if I remember right.
Makes sense. I don't. Were we asking that then? Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I think
maybe the first week you did it, you just kind of bombed it on Brandon, I think.
Yeah, I didn't have a
He didn't
plan.
even have a warning. He just got Jay-Z sucker punched.
He kind of did. I'm not gonna. I don't know how many times we'll get to talk to you this year. I hope more, and I've enjoyed this, and I hope you did too enough.
After a win, because he's already done that.
I know. Won. Yeah, hey, we got a winner on a Monday. We had a winner on the weekend. We got a winner on Monday. So
you keep coming back after you win, but
listen, one weekend we got the winner on a Monday.
It
worked out. So, so some of your over the last 5-8 years, some of the run-ins that you've had on track, it's typically been pretty consistent with that 48 car. You're not an overly fiery guy by nature here. You're like you said, you kind of do your own thing. You're sort of an old soul. You stay off social media. You're not super outspoken. Is that just a moment of just passion behind the wheel and you felt like you got done wrong? Do previous events sort of carry over, and so anything is sort of hyper escalated in those moments? And again, we're not here to disparage anybody or put up walls, because as a podcast, we'd like to have everybody on here.
Or is this extremely over exaggerated by the fans, and maybe
or do we make more out of it than it really is? Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't dislike the guy or whatever. I mean, he races hard. We race together all the time because we were in the same tracks. So.
And you're at the front of them usually.
Yeah, and we race whatever. But that deal last year, in hindsight, this year, no matter what happens, I don't want anything to happen like that, because it's just say that's not me. I'm very passionate. I just don't want to in the moment. It's an outlaw show, which doesn't matter. They're all the same race. But that was just such a low as we race, right? Cost so much money. You can get hurt. You can get killed. You spin somebody out in whatever, or crash someone. Well, okay, and he's okay. Runs into him and gets hurt, or the guy that's sitting there gets hurt. So to do something like that, enough to admit to it on TV, shows how maybe at least you could be smart enough to lie. So at the moment,
it's fair.
At the was not happy, and I don't know that I thought about doing it, but
everything else.
Yeah, so and in hindsight, I would never do that. It's disrespectful on our car and whatever. But at some point, you just have enough is enough. And I don't have any. I like racing with them. Anyone that's good or that can elevate you or push you, grateful for, because that's what the hell you go there for. So, just hopefully, I mean, so whatever,
So, like your advice to other drivers, we saw it Sunday a little bit. Like maybe take a step back. You feel wronged one way or the other. Take a step back because that incident might carry with you for a few weeks or however long. Not even anyone specific, just like a general thing. You get wrong on the track and something happens. We saw it obviously at the Icebreaker. So that would be your advice. I think a lot of guys, I think, respect you in the garage, and obviously you've won enough that you've earned that. And I think that's a really interesting concept. I think Dale Jr. talked about a lot with how he handles post-race altercation type stuff. And you're like looking back and think I was kind of dumb, even though we love the passion.
yeah,
Yeah, here we
yeah,
are,
yeah. I mean,
8 months later.
the only like, I mean, I make mistakes. I've gotten into people and they've crashed. I've, last year or years before, I've called them or went down and said, you own up to your mistakes, and then sometimes nobody's at fault, and sometimes you're from one side or the other of it. So, but no, I mean, the whole Scott's no good. But in some ways, back in the day or whatever, when something like that happened and it settled that way, well, that was typically the end of it. Nowadays,
Right.
people do the social, like it blows up on social media and all the BS and blah blah
Flow
blah.
Race and Duravision has it all.
Oh yeah, and it festers.
A little bit different than
And
like the old days when your dad may or may not have had a crowbar chasing a Chad Layton around. It's fine. Like a little bit different, right?
no, I never get settled. Like, and that doesn't mean fight settle something, but at least you could later the next week you talk it over. And I
Right.
mean, I know my really good friends as racers, right? And they've raced around here and both they've gotten into each other, vice versa. The next day or the next week they up or whatever, owned up to it, and they moved on. I mean, you race with people enough just the way it is. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
Absolutely.
There's a balance in there. But I don't know. I'm just gonna stay in my corner and run the best. Things are gonna happen. It doesn't matter what it is.
It's worked out for you this far. Go ahead, Jimmy. What you got?
We've got a couple of questions here from the chat in here, just to get to before we
Yeah.
let you go. John Sertich again, coming in with more questions. Question: how do you find time going back and forth from Salfordville to Hanover and Mechanicsburg and even Port Royal? 30-some weekends of the year, plus working your job throughout the week. Just, I guess, kind of the balance of trying to be, a driver and have, a full-time job and, go ahead.
Yeah. Luckily, I have a really lets me leave early on Fridays or if we race midweek, I can leave an hour or two. But basically, all we do is race, and then if we're not racing, prepare to go to the race. Work at night during the week every night, just about. Or as organized as we can be. I'd say that's the only thing that makes it possible. Because just the way it is, and then like we stay out there on the weekends. If we race a Friday, Saturday before Lincoln or wherever we're going, and then this year we're going to stay over Saturday if turn Rich's car around, so that during the week after work we don't have to me and my drive 2 hours just to get to work on it. We'll go up 1 or 2 nights, probably just one night if fine touch everything if we have to, or we will. That'll be the routine, but we do it. It's not bad, honestly. We hustle a bustle around pretty good.
That's cool. I like hearing that you're kind of changing the strategy a little bit to make it work for you. That's maybe that'll help you out there.
Yeah, that's the goal.
We got another question here from a fellow racer, past guest Ashley Capetta, asking, what did you think of mounting the new fire suppression system, and what are your thoughts on it? Heard Matt made you mount it, LOL.
Oh yeah. I think it's I'm hoping no one ever has to use it. Maybe it's the system we bought was very easy to mount and everything. You just had to make a bracket for the. But I don't know. I don't know why all of a sudden we have to start running these similar to the tether deal. It just kind of out of nowhere. But whatever. I mean, is what it is. I guess I'm not a big fan of it. I don't know how much it'll do. Like I said, hopefully we don't have nobody has to test it.
Yeah, that's what it's about at the end of the day. I mean, it's a safety measure, but you hope nobody has to use it. But how far?
Yeah, in my mind, I'm getting now if possible, if possible,
right.
and sometimes the way you land or the way you sit, you can't. Maybe you'd be grateful for it at that point. I'll tell you, I caught on fire once pulling in someone's car, and it is crazy how hot it gets in there real fast. So out safety wise, and I'm for it. But we'll just have to see. As long as somehow the bottle would come loose and come out of the car or hit the driver in the car, but that should never, the way the clamps are made. So hopefully that should never be an issue.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get you out of here. We want to thank you so much for spending some of your Monday evening with us after a win. Congratulations again on your win. Do you want to just give a shout out to all your sponsors, everybody that helps you get up and down to the track and get to the track every weekend?
Yeah, definitely. Just Rich and Nancy Eichelberg, really good guys. Trans East and Ken's Tire, all the people that help out Steal It, Low Bar. Excited. Hopefully the weather holds out and we get racing here with our own stuff. Really pumped to and next week. And I appreciate you guys having me on the show and best of luck with it.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, thank you a lot for taking the time out, and hope to have you on again, maybe after another win, maybe an outlaw win.
Maybe a national open.
All right. Thank you, Freddie.
Awesome. Thanks, Freddie. Appreciate it, man. See you around.
No problem.
Freddie.
Take care, buddy.
Freddie Rahmer, everyone. Thank you. Got to definitely thank him and Matt tonight. I know the audio and video issues were, we have some weather coming through right now. I know it's like snowing here, and they got it's all over the place here right now.
It's like snow, rain, thunderstorms, sleet, all in like 200 square miles are here.
So, and I want to thank all the fans and everybody in the chat, everybody watching, that hung through that. But some really interesting stuff there with Freddie. Hearing that maybe a Knoxville trip, I didn't expect to hear that.
Obviously, down the road, and I think he
to
be clear it wasn't going to be this year, but building back to that, which I think is interesting because it's interesting.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think, sure.
That's awesome for that team to have that many races in a 51, and it sounds like almost that same number of races in the 8. That's exciting. I think it's cool too, like Matt Campbell, what he has going on and how he's trying to build his program is going back to that really cool. And I think he's a guy that over the next 2 to 10 years, whatever it may be, could be one of those perennial threats, right? So that's awesome to see too.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the Icebreaker weekend overall? I mean, what are your takeaways from the 2 days? What you saw, something that stood out to you, good, bad, or indifferent?
Well, I kind of wanted to bring a segment back. I don't know if this is a good time to do it.
It's definitely
a lot of our dirt fans haven't seen this.
They haven't seen this yet. This is a segment we used to do last year. It's called Drink It or Dump It. And the way this goes is just give us one thing that you liked from this weekend, driver, situation, whatever, and one thing that you would dump it out for, either mad or sad, upset, just disappointed in something over the weekend. I'll go first. My drink it is Devin Borden. That car looks badass fast. He looks badass fast, and I think that team is going to take down a lot of checks this year, and we should be encouraged as PA Posse fans because I think we got another heavy hitter up there to be able to compete.
I got to interrupt, Drink It or Dump It. I read something. Only
What?
because you're gonna say Port Royal and stuff. Speaking of Port Royal, Zemco did confirm Logan Wagner,
Okay.
He's back.
not
That's
full time though. Only
Unrelated.
big
Why are
show.
you interrupting?
that's
me just for
unrelated,
that?
dude. That's not even
Very-
where I was going.
Very related. Very related.
It's not related
Then
at
you
all.
could have had it
I
as your
was
drink
talking.
it. You're a
Yeah.
big fan.
I can't wait to interrupt you now.
You do it all the time.
What's some
With something
irrelevant news?
completely irrelevant. I saw an airplane today.
But
Jesus.
I was just, you know,
Evan Bourne. Go
I
ahead.
was there. I was very impressed with him. You know, not that, you know, there's ever been a question about, you know, his talent or that team really, but they were new out of the gate last year and they got going pretty quick. And I think, you know, we kind of look at like maybe like Brent, Macri, Freddie, Danny. They're kind of like a top
Lance.
tier right there, Lance. But and then there's like a second tier of a lot of good, really good drivers and teams, but they're just not quite there yet to be able to compete with the national level. I think Devon's in that top tier this year. I
Yeah,
really
they hit
do.
on something late. I agree. He talked about that in his interview on Sunday a little bit about like kind of hit on something late in the year, and they had some successes and they've carried it right over to the beginning of the season. So pretty cool.
Yeah. And my dump it, I'm gonna go with Millard. I didn't. That was an interesting exchange there on Sunday.
For it.
You know, I'm.
It's also fire off at the same
well,
time.
No. Dump it because not because of so much the way he acted. I know it sucks to
Yeah, that'd be
junk
mine.
a car, but a little bit on the way he acted because I thought it was just a racing deal, and I don't think Glendon did anything that egregious. But hey, you get fired up, and you know the emotions take over. So I can't really blame anybody from that. That's what a lot of people are there for. That's what they want to see. They want to see that passion out of the drivers. But I just didn't think that situation warranted all that, and that's just my opinion. But I'm not in the car, so I'm just some dumbass here talking. So who wants to go next? Chris?
Chris does.
So I can interrupt you?
Yes, please. Please do, my friend. Drink it up. Back to racing. Central PA style. Lincoln, 2 races. I enjoyed it. Specifically, let's give it carrying the last week. Billy Dietrich and his whole crew.
Yeah.
Very welcoming to us this week. Nate, nasty Nate, if you're out there watching, don't say anything. You're crazy in the best of ways. But
Yeah, we want to stay live on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, don't get us.
shout out to them guys. Chris, talked to him a little bit on Sunday whenever he had no crew or driver. That was fun. I learned a lot, and that was probably my drink of the week. Those guys are an awesome crew and awesome group. So drink it up to them.
Breaking news. Josh Aaron has joined us.
Well, good.
We're gonna bring him in when we're done here.
See, now that's actually breaking news.
That is breaking news.
I was just. I guess I'll just go cheer for Millard next week. Whatever. Anyway, dump. I guess the only dump it really is Saturday. Obviously, Mother Nature said adios. This weekend's not looking great either, as far as Port Royal goes, as far as being comfortable. I don't know.
Okay.
Drink it. Did that. Dump it. I don't have one yet. It's too early.
Sounds like dump it to the weather.
Dump it to the weather because it's probably too early to be racing. But hey, we'll take what we can get. Lincoln, honorable mention for their efforts. I applaud them.
Yeah, for sure. Jay-Z.
Man, I have way more drink it than dump it this weekend. You know, we didn't see anybody really grenade a motor. Nobody junked their stuff where they're going to be out multiple weeks, thankfully. So drink it. I'm going to cheat and have a couple here. Lincoln Speedway, number 1. They had a great weekend. You know, racing Thursday at 75 degrees made Saturday. They could call that sooner. They didn't leave people hanging. You know, if the weather, you know, just wasn't great for fans or drivers, let's move to Sunday where we know the forecast is good. So
Yep.
I think it's an overwhelming win for Lincoln Speedway. It was great to, I'm obviously a photographer, it was great to have a daytime show Sunday, and I took like, I don't know, 6,000 pictures, and there's probably 4,000 of them are worth keeping. So that was awesome. drink it also to Justin Peck for the season he has started.
Yeah.
He is driving like a man possessed right now from Volusia.
Kind of picking up where he left off last year.
Yeah, I mean Volusia to East Bay, or was it East Bay? The All Stars,
so.
or the
East
other
Bay.
Florida track?
No,
East Bay. To East Bay with his battles with Tyler Courtney. Sure, he'd love to win one of those. I know he was pretty dejected not winning, but then coming to Central PA with us at Lincoln with a second and a first. I mean, yeah, you can't ask for a better start than that. And I'm sure he'd want to race 7 days a week right now with that momentum. So, and then Devin Borden, I agree with Jimmy on that one. I'm going to just piggyback. That's a great start for him. Brent Marks had a good rebound from Thursday to Sunday. Yeah. Probably more challenging track Sunday than Thursday, and he went from 9th to 2nd, and arguably was a little better than Peck at the very end there, probably. But
a couple more laps, I think.
Yeah, I mean that yellow came out with as he got the second there with Macri, but that Surface Sunday was so much fun to watch.
Yeah,
I mean, it was slider fest, and it was almost like this weird thing of like one driver would slide another in 3 and 4, and the third car would get a run on both of them. Yes. And it was so cool to watch, and how they were like just weaving in and out of each other. And I know Flo can't catch all of that, but get to the track, guys.
Right.
Go to the damn racetrack, because the things that you can see that, yeah, the leader's out front and it's the leader going through a corner, but the things you can't see on Flo, Flo does a great job, but there's these things you can't see. Get to the damn racetrack, I'm telling you. Dump it. Oh man. I hated to see Chase Dietz kind of ruin his day the way it started.
That one was a bummer.
It's definitely fixable. Definitely fixable, but he had a great start to the day, and ended up made a little mistake there in 3 and 4, and Riley Emig was committed to the top, had nowhere to go, and kind of tore the front end off of that thing, and it hurt Riley's car too. Again, nothing that's not fixable there, but you just hate to see it. So that's kind of where I'll leave mine.
Right. And he was so fast in the heat. I think he won the heat.
He won the heat from the pole, and looked good there. The car was straight. It was solid. It was fast. I mean, it ran. It you can't ask for much more when you put a car together from scratch. You never start the damn thing. Just started at the garage, but it had no RPM. It never had a lap on it, and the thing went around the track, won a damn heat, hot laps, won a heat race from the pole, got in a redraw. You can't ask for much more than that to start a program. So good for Chase. Hate to see the way it ended there that day, but made it pretty clear he'll be back quick. So. You said Josh is here? Is he in the backstage, or
he was having some issues? It looked like another person having issues trying to get in and out. So he's
a big NASCAR guy. So for all the dirt fans watching, and late model fans, by the way, I know you guys race on dirt. Didn't want to forget you. But Josh Aaron's a good buddy of ours, and really this whole thing started with Jimmy, Chris, and Josh. I had nothing to do with it, and Josh has kind of been traveling. He's apparently, an amateur firefighter and a semi-pro race car. No, I'm just kidding. He's golfing. He's traveling. He's pretty cool. So he was going to come in and chat some NASCAR with us here briefly, but
we'll see if we can get him there in a second. But
I don't know if he's having technical issues or not. But Homestead. I keep saying Homestead Auto Club. Pretty cool. Kyle effing Busch is back.
Just remember,
did he ever leave?
Said
Childress Chevy
4 wins. I picked 4 wins last year.
But here's my thing. Here's where I'm at with that. We know the 8 car was good last year, right?
Yep.
But would you take Richard Childress and put him in top tier of organizations?
And
none of us would. I still don't. Still don't. Kyle Busch is in Gibbs, top tier organization. Yeah. Has what he has. You can't tell me.
Let's Chevy for 3 weeks now.
Just didn't want it, Chris. Oh, okay. Hold on. Are we gonna do a Larson here? Just didn't want it enough, right? But here's where I'm at with that.
Maybe.
You can't tell me a guy like that the mental state doesn't do something for the soul and the driving. Okay, because attitude, outlook, the mental state, all of those things, and you can't tell me that he didn't have equipment good enough to win at Gibbs, because they do. Okay.
Right.
Goes in here and has been great for 3 weeks. You can't tell me that attitude and that outlook on life and glass half full doesn't do something with his right foot and hands. Like,
sure.
But I know that sounds simple to say, but it's not that simple, because guys would never admit to that. A driver would never admit to, I'm racing better because I'm in a better mental state.
Drivers are innately stubborn. Look at last year. He won the dirt race at Bristol. He kept having goofy thing. Right, he shouldn't have. That was the one thing that went his way all year.
Shouldn't have, right?
Like everything went against Kyle.
He could have
Busch
won
last year.
another 3 or 4 races
Right.
last year, but
Like
had some bad luck.
Darlington, he would have won. Motor blows under caution.
Under
The
caution.
week after that, blows again. Like,
Mhm.
Are you serious? Like that's now, is that him missing shifts? Is that just bad luck? Maybe it's all of it. Who knows? But he had some goofy ways to lose races last year beyond winning that one that went his way. But my thing was knowing how good Reddick was in that car last year and how good the Chevys are as a whole. You put Kyle Busch in that car, a motivated Kyle Busch in that car.
And maybe Childress got some sponsor money and built the program some more.
Yeah, it looks that way.
I think. Well,
Austin Dillon was inside the top 10.
Yep.
Look at Kyle Larson when he came back and was that I'm gonna show you year 2021, even though he did it to himself to not be here.
Yeah, a little bit of a different situation.
Right,
a little bit of a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Right, and Kyle Larson came back and just like I'm gonna show you I belong here.
And then went last year and just wasn't motivated and just fell off the face of the earth.
Now look at him.
Just
Now
didn't
he
want it.
made it what 14
just didn't want
laps
it
in the
anymore.
garage.
Barely won any dirt races.
He only wants to go to Knoxville. It's weird. I think Kyle Busch is 4 wins. I think the Chevys are the best group right now, and I think he's going to capitalize on that.
Trackhouse is really impressive. Oh, here we go. Yeah. We got him.
I mean, Ross Chastain, what a run.
Him and Daniel Suarez, they were both in the top 5.
Suarez finished 4th. Good for him.
Sharon.
Look at that.
The original T2T logo.
Look at that.
He still uses his original potatoes computer.
Hey, what's up, boys?
How's it
going?
Are you on a phone too?
No.
Are you on the
cutting out?
Phone?
No, you're not cutting out. You're a little blurry, but you're not cutting out.
A little bit of a
background. It's partly the background.
No, I was sitting in my hot tub and my AirPods wouldn't work, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm drying off and I'm throwing a shirt on and I'm coming inside because
there we go.
You guys have said some slanderous shit already."
Oh boy!
Oh
boy!
What did we
Who did?
Here we go.
These Jimmy and Jay-Z.
Good.
You gotta
what?
Safety in numbers, boys.
You gotta give it. Listen, you gotta give it to Kyle Busch. There's one thing I'll say about this week.
We did.
The one thing I'll say about this week is the guys that were good got in trouble early. You know, the guys that you were looking to win it. You know,
Kyle Larson blew up after 14
Larson,
laps.
Bell.
Won it.
I think Amarola was a sleepy guy here. Harvick, Eric Jones has always been good here. And all of those guys got in trouble early. So RCR, I think, is in a really good spot going in here. And I think Kyle Busch is going to be very good for Austin Dillon. Because unlike Jimmy, I believe in Austin Dillon. I think he's a decent race car driver.
Denny Hamlin took that side today, by the way.
But Joe Gibbs, you've seen it all on Twitter the last 2 days now. The toxicity at Joe Gibbs, nobody wants to be there anymore. Nobody wants to be a part of that, and I think Kyle Busch,
because we were all busy. I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah, I didn't hear about any of this.
Oh, so the rumor is that everybody's unhappy. Martin Truex is just riding out his deal. Denny Hamlin's riding out his deal.
They're all re-signed. And so unhappy that he came back another year. Could have retired.
He's so unhappy that he's single now to marry Joe Gibbs's race team.
Yeah, there could have been some sponsorship money there.
Yeah, I think that's why
that greased those wheels.
I agree.
Christopher Bell's so unhappy that he came back another year. That's crazy.
Right, and also
Come
Denny
on.
Hamlin re-signed.
You're telling me the money that much? Christopher Bell couldn't go to any team anywhere and get a deal, and he came back because he's that unhappy. I mean, come on.
But where are they gonna? He's not going to Hendrick. They don't have open spots.
Nope.
Where does
he could go any? He's talented enough to go anywhere. He could have went to Haas. He could have went to Trackhouse.
That's a step down. If you're a NASCAR racer on the top of the line, you're not going to take a step down, even if you're unhappy.
I was going to say, if Gibbs
Kyle Busch is good enough to do it, is Chris Bell good enough to do it?
Yes, Christopher Bell is.
Oh,
absolutely.
He hasn't shown that yet.
Oh,
he hasn't proven that yet.
I think he has.
No. JC's getting baited into a fire.
He hasn't.
No.
He hasn't proven that he's good enough to do that.
He's not Austin Dillon.
Austin Dillon's
who's better, Christopher Bell or Austin Dillon?
Definition of average, Christopher Bell. Thank you. And if Austin Dillon is the definition of average, what's Christopher Bell then?
Good.
No, Christopher Bell's better than Austin Dillon. I'll say that.
Yeah, he's a top 10 driver in the sport.
But he's not going to take a step down. He can't go anywhere. Where's
But
he
it's
going
so
to go?
toxic and everybody hates it. Why wouldn't he? He'd be happier and be a Kyle Busch happy and go win races
He
anywhere.
can't go to Stewart Haas. Nobody wants Stewart Haas.
He could have.
There's no. He can't go anywhere.
If
They
Christopher
got
Bell was a free agent and
Stuart Haas,
oh,
I think has big plans. But go on.
exactly, I
well,
guarantee
they have
you,
to have something in the works for next year. But you're telling me that 41 car, who's in that?
Priest.
Priest. If Christopher Bell and Ryan Priest were in it, and Gene Haas stepped up and said, "I want Ryan Priest in that car," and Christopher Bell was on and they were both available, and Gene Haas was going to foot the bill, you telling me they'd have picked Ryan Priest over Christopher Bell?
Oh, absolutely not. But
Out
I
of your
think
damn mind.
Christopher Bell will be at Stewart Haas in a couple of years.
I think it could be Eric Jones, Christopher Bell.
I could see Eric Jones.
I mean, that 4 car, they're gonna they gotta have something.
They got to
Eric
get
Jones fits that bill.
somebody.
But I'm very happy for Kyle Busch, but I wouldn't consider that a Kyle Busch win because all of the big Fontana guys didn't make it to the end of the race. All the big front runners for Fontana weren't there.
You think Ross Chastain wouldn't have won the first 2 stages by multiple seconds if Larson and those guys were up there to race with him?
Ross
He
Chastain
dominated that race.
He dominated the first 2. I will give you that.
Track position, that's the way the last stage can go.
Right.
Last pit stop can go.
You
But
Florida men are weird.
I really think Ryan Blaney would have won that race if he didn't kill that cat.
Jeez. I saw this on Twitter today. JC has a face up. What the hell are you talking about?
I missed this.
There was a
I
cat,
missed it too.
End of the last stage. End of
I
the
was
last
with you at
stage. There was a cat on the track, and Ryan Blaney hit it and killed it.
Allegedly, we don't know
The
who
car
hit
or the
it.
cat?
Definitely.
We don't know if the cat survived. Allegedly,
Cat did not
Basically,
survive.
Cat
Definitely
was
did
in-
not.
The
They're
cat
going
was
into
in
that corner
1 and 2
194.
as Ryan Blaney's maybe at the top of the racetrack, and it's
No,
a
they
cat
said-
between him and the wall.
All right, cat.
They said he allegedly killed the cat at 190 miles an hour.
We don't know where the cat's at.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Dissolved.
There was blood on
Evaporated.
the front though of Blaney's car, so it's definitely him.
Okay, well,
So anyway,
Mike Joy said it was a bird, so it's
Good
fine.
win for RCR.
yes,
I think it's a hell of a win for RCR. I think it puts them on the map. I think it does more for KBM. This is a bigger win for KBM than RCR.
Yes,
What the
KBM.
fuck are you talking about?
KBM doesn't
Opposite.
exist.
You mean because John
Doesn't-
Hunter
Oh yeah, it
won?
does. Yeah, because John Hunter.
No, KBM's a Chevy team.
KBM's
No,
on.
that's trucks. You're saying JGR.
Yeah,
No, I'm
he's
saying-
saying KBM.
Yeah, I'm saying KBM. I think this was a good win for KBM. All of their funding is running
Comes from
through Kyle
RCR
Busch. It
and
comes
down
through
through- I see what you're
RCR
saying.
and now
And-
down
and
through the
Colin.
trucks.
Wait, you're saying this win gave them more money for the truck?
I'm saying it's a good win for Kyle Busch Motorsports in general. As a big bubble, this was a great win. It was a better win for KBM than it was for Kyle Busch.
I can't disagree with you
No.
any more than I possibly could ever think of.
And also,
I can't think of any way to disagree with that anymore. You're telling me, are you out of your damn mind? What were you drinking in the hot tub? I had 3 Busch Lights, and I feel like I'm the only sane person.
You're
sitting here right
drinking
now.
Busch Light Apple.
what the hell is
So,
wrong with
I mean,
No,
Oh.
I'm drinking, and I feel like you're like out of your damn mind.
you? Listen,
You're
Florida.
telling me that one win means more to a different class of vehicle 2 times removed, means more than the human who just went through all what he went through last year, and the first real racetrack goes out and wins the way he wins in that car. You're telling me that it means more to some the truck team that hasn't even been on the track. They didn't even race this weekend. They weren't even in the state.
no,
Or
I
the
think it does.
You're
time
talking more.
zone.
I think Josh is talking morale wise. Like it's gonna.
Morale for the KBM truck Chevys that Kyle
Well,
Busch won in
I
a
think
cup
it
car?
proved a lot because Kyle Busch moved and he brought his entire team over, and he went and he proved
They slapped
can
the Chevy
win.
sticker on them.
somewhere else. And now they've got the
It's
Chevy
still
backing.
KBM.
And KBM dominated trucks when they didn't have the backing.
It's still
Now they
KBM with a
have the
Chevy
backing.
logo. They ain't no different.
I think it was a big win for KBM.
Okay, I'll give it to you. I disagree, but I'll give it to you. I love you, Josh.
In any case,
Man, I missed you.
In any case, so while Kyle Busch goes out and wins, he's looked strong through 3 races. They'll be connected for a little while. Tyler Reddick has looked the opposite as far as luck goes.
Yeah, luck.
What is it? Pressure?
No.
Bad luck?
Well, it's the
Toyota?
second race of the season, is what it is.
Was it a black cat?
It was a black cat. It was a black cat.
Blaney, yes.
It was.
That was Ryan Blaney, not Tyler Reddick.
Yeah.
It was on the same
It's
track
the
as
second
Tyler
race
Reddick.
of the season. R.I.P. Fontana. I'm going to miss that configuration
Well,
so much.
I think that's the before we get to the Fontana, we can go that next. But just real quick, like
Hold on,
sucks
breaking
for
news.
Reddick.
Breaking
Sucks
news.
for
wait.
Reddick. Reddick and Kyle Busch are always going to be connected for the
There's a
next
new bridge at Williams Grove.
2
Breaking
years.
news.
There will
Oh,
not
yeah,
be
we
a new
forgot to
bridge at
talk
Williams
about that
Grove.
shit.
We didn't forget. We didn't care.
Yeah, breaking news in the middle of a NASCAR conversation while Chris is talking.
Oh, yeah, new Williams Grove Bridge is incoming.
And a date to
Like,
be announced in the summertime.
A different one or a replacement one?
A new one. It's
Yes.
It's a
Would
foot
that
wider, 5 feet taller,
not
and 5
be
feet
the
longer.
Same thing.
No,
A
like
different
one on
bridge
the other
would be a
side.
replacement.
They're
or
taking
like,
It's
taking the old
replacing.
bridge. They're taking the
Okay.
old bridge. It's going to Lattimore.
Mhm.
And then they're bringing a brand new one in. Who actually, it was designed by the people who built a lot of them at Coda. It's a foot wider than the old bridge, 5 foot taller, and 5 foot longer. And they said they're going to have fencing around it for safety, which I don't understand how that's going to work when it's in the middle of a backstretch. But okay.
Well, that's what they've been saving their money for, huh?
Probably a
Coda
cage.
Maybe.
bridges.
It probably has a cage on top, so if a car were to flip and land on top of the bridge, you could presumably survive it.
Okay.
Anyway,
so
I don't know.
do they allow spectators up there now
No.
during the
Not
race?
without during
no.
the races. No.
No.
You
So
can't
maybe
really
that's what
cross.
they're doing.
You can't even stop on the bridge, or security goes and tries to throw you off.
It's so much quicker just to walk across the track through the pits. Just get yourself a pit pass. Screw the bridge.
Sometimes even with the pit
Honestly,
pass, they don't let you do it. They'll close
Yeah.
that off too.
Yeah.
Because there's like push trucks or whatever going around, even when
That's
they're
true.
like the track's dead. So a lot of times I get stuck having to wait in line to get across.
Park
But
out
either
the
way.
front stretch and take the tunnel. That was
Either
Chris's
way.
pro tip to me when I started
So
going there.
is it true with the going back to the Fontana thing that they're
Yeah.
not going to have a race at all next year? It'll be 2025.
potentially.
2025, maybe 2024, but it's looking like 2025.
I
had
think
this
that place
thought
is
with
done.
Jimmy yesterday,
They're
and
done.
Denny Hamlin confirmed it on his podcast today. I don't think we go back to Fontana.
They only saved 89 acres, and we were looking it up. Port Royal and Williams Grove are like on 50 acres.
50
It's like, can you imagine a NASCAR
So
race
you're
on something a
talking-
little bit bigger than the
Port-
grounds that Williams Grove is
Well,
on?
the rumor is that it's Martinsville with banking.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
It's
cool.
a high bank
I don't need it.
Martinsville.
I don't need
Which,
it.
if you go back to like a year ago, we talked about it on the podcast. When we were talking about California pushing electric cars and eNASCAR, everything. That's what they're going to get to. They're going to get to the high bank, never let off the gas, just paperclip tracks like you remember the slot cars you did in your basement
Right,
when you
or
were
like
a kid.
the Cars movies, but yeah.
Yeah.
NASCAR
Yeah.
is basically a Cars movie at this point, so why not just keep going?
I was
I mean,
hoping for like a high bank Pocono, but it's just going to be a high bank Martinsville.
That's
Who
too
owns
dangerous.
Fontana?
NASCAR.
Yeah.
Why
They
would
made almost
NASCAR?
They made almost 500 million selling all the land that they did.
Okay, so there's no way they'd build that track if they're not going to come back. They own
They
it.
didn't build the track yet.
They didn't build the track.
That's
yet.
what I'm saying.
yeah.
But to proceed to go moving forward to start even demolishing and then either don't build it at all.
Ken
But if they
Baum.
start to build it, they're gonna come back.
Ken Baum T2T
Right.
winner.
All they've actually done.
You said they saved 89 acres, not what the total acres are left.
Right. No, that's the total acres left.
that's
Is
total left.
89 acres. Martinsville's
So-
on 340 acres. Bristol's on like 600.
So where are they going to park everyone?
Right. So
It's
the
all going to
idea
be
is,
so. It's
from
all
what Denny Hamlin
warehouses.
said,
It's
they're
all
going to
warehouses.
lease out the parking lot out there to park people. But the diagram they drew up 2 years ago is 89 acres for track and parking,
So
just east of LA.
35,000 capacity stands.
Yeah.
I just don't
Just
see it happening.
east of
Just
So how about what?
you
what
might
do you
as
think
well
about
just
this?
go race the Coliseum as a points race.
Exactly. What happens in
that's
LA
too
right now?
much. Too
That
sad.
draws a lot of attention and a lot of
It
money.
snows.
What gets
Yeah.
more viewership right now in LA?
What do you mean?
Everything?
Everything else?
The Clash.
No.
Oh, okay.
So if you want a permanent clash, what do? You build a more exciting Rose Bowl stadium.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you make one that doesn't
Well, the
cost
Rose
you
Bowl,
$1 million
and you
the
a
Rose
suck
Bowl
up.
year to
Stadium,
build.
the Rose Bowl Stadium holds like 90,000 people. This is
Right.
going to hold 35,000.
Right.
Yeah.
And in order
But
to
the Rose
redo
Bowl
the
Stadium's
Coliseum,
never been full. It's been
Well,
nothing
I
but
get
bleachers.
sure.
They
but
said the Coliseum. It's not
costs
the
like
same as the Rose Bowl, by the way. Just
yeah,
pointing that
it's
out.
the same place.
It's
well,
not the
no,
same
but the
place.
track
The Rose
takes
Bowl.
away.
The Rose Bowl is different from the Coliseum. They're two different stadiums.
That's true, yeah. But
It
it's
is?
also
Yes.
it is. They're across town.
They're across town. Yeah.
No,
Say
What's the
no.
stadium
Yes,
called?
it
No.
is. Yes,
no,
it
it's
is.
not.
It's
Anyway,
lit-
I don't care.
Hot take. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The Rose
that's why
Bowl's in the
USC was so-
Coliseum.
No, they're two different stadiums.
In any case, how much money do they spend rebuilding that racetrack every year?
$1
Yeah,
million.
Exactly.
So they want to do something permanent, and I get that.
So if they
So you're
even
gonna
do
have
a
the-
mini version of 20 minutes out of town for
they got
$100
They
million,
got.
they'll pay it off in 10 years.
Here's the thing: they got to do something because they can't go into this next television contract negotiation and say we're not in the second biggest market in the country.
Sure
They got
you
to
can.
have something there. No, they
The
can't.
second biggest
You can't.
market in the country doesn't give a fuck about race cars going in circles.
You don't need the whole market. You just need a part of it.
You
I
see
guarantee you
Fox.
the Clash had more viewers than last weekend.
I agree. Yeah, probably.
The Daytona?
No. This weekend. This past
Then this-
weekend.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
I didn't see the
Clash had
viewership.
more viewership than that. That's what they're after.
Oh. Well, probably not because
They
Fox
could
had it
sell
You mean
off-
broadcast.
NASCAR's after viewers? What?
And we also know that like Fox is killing attendance at racetracks.
Fox is.
You know what?
Fox is
Fox should
terrible.
only they should only live stream 11 NASCAR races, like Flo does at Lincoln. Hot take. It'll make more people go.
I can't figure out this camera. This has gone off the rails. We were doing so
Yes.
well.
We were doing good.
Well,
Hey,
you let
Brett
me in-
Perigo.
You let me in the door.
Brett Perigo's here
No,
now.
we just
Hi,
decided to
Brett.
Hello,
pass
I'm
the
late.
car.
This
He's
isn't even
late.
live. This is tomorrow. What are you doing here so late? You missed it. Oh, wait, we're still on the air.
We're
Okay.
still on the air. But yeah, Josh, this has been fun. Glad to
Hey,
see you
I
back.
want to say, hey, to you guys, you've killed it. You've done an incredible job.
Thanks, man.
I
Thank you.
died.
You
I
did. We thought you died, man. Like we didn't.
We weren't sure.
Yeah,
We
weren't
never
sure.
checked the hotel roof, to be honest.
You guys have absolutely fucking killed it. It's beyond what we ever even imagined it being, and you guys have absolutely killed it. And I've missed some episodes and stuff, but even listening a couple weeks ago when you had your first big guest on, I don't know his name because I'm not a dirt guy. I tuned in that one. I was like, this is a big one, and then listening tonight, like you guys and interviewing people and the stuff and the dirt track stuff. Absolutely fucking killing it. So
Thank you,
Thanks,
Josh.
man.
We
Miss
wouldn't be
you,
able-
buddy.
We wouldn't
Glad
be
you're
here
back.
without you either. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't be without you. Like,
Yeah.
you disappearing into the wilderness or the golf courses somewhere or England or wherever you went gave me an opportunity, man. So, thank you. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're present. This is the real T2T, you three. Not me, man. This is your gig. I just want to help.
no, I'm pretty sure you've cemented yourself.
I also want to shove this in your face. Thank you, Andrew May.
Yeah.
Clash is held at USC Stadium, not the Rose Bowl. LA Memorial Coliseum is where the Clash is at.
California's like another country, so I got to
Yeah,
confused.
we don't count that. You can have your stats. Mexico has their stats. We don't count them.
Yeah.
It's the real
I-
Brian Broderick stat.
Definitely had it wrong.
Well, we definitely want to thank everybody that's been tuning in and checking us out. Like I said before, I know we had some some technical issues. We only do so much on our end, so thanks for sticking it out.
Thanks those guys for coming.
Hey,
and
thanks
making
for
the
them.
effort, make it
I
happen.
want to shout out to Ken Baum
Oh,
for
boy.
race 1 of the year.
Damn
T2T's
right, Ken
on
Baum.
the top of the board.
Yeah,
Hey, listen. Wednesday, buddy.
We're going for race 2.
I think we have a roster Wednesday that can not only win, but we could sweep the top 3.
I'm racing to not be suspended.
Alrighty then.
Josh's chat has been disabled.
Shout out. Who's
yeah.
our sponsors here? We got Keen Motorsports, Jimmy repping the hat.
Yeah. Shout out Kyle Keen Motorsports, helping us get
Jeremy's Galapagos Photography.
Yeah.
Zaffros.
Jeremy Zaffros. We love Jeremy Zaffros Photography.
I do love Galapagos.
Yeah. And
Listen,
I want to shout out Nasty Nate for this cool koozie that he gave me yesterday.
I want one so bad. That's so cool.
It's limited edition, by the way.
It's very limited edition. I feel very special that he gave it to me.
By the way,
shout out to all those guys.
If there's anybody left watching or listening,
there is.
Like, subscribe, shout us out, comment, leave us some suggestions. We got some big things in the works we're thinking. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Matt, by the way. We were dragging on here 2 hours and almost 10 minutes. So, Matt, thanks for coming. I know he was a new watcher last week. Thanks for coming back, everybody.
111 Tuesday there?
It's crazy. We have some things lined up. Wait, 111. That means he's in the same time zone as Craig Dunn.
Yeah, Craig Dunn must be lurking around.
3 hours.
Dunny.
Oi, mate.
15.
That means he's running Chili Bowl midgets right now.
What's Perigo want to drop here?
T2T sponsored car.
We'll be finding out about that here in the next couple weeks.
Wait, hold on a second. Do you mean like? This is going to go on a race car?
It's going to go on a race car, and that race car is going to end up in Victory Lane. I'm calling it.
And we are going to do the Victory Lane interview before the driver.
Burn it down.
We're just going to grab the microphone and start.
I don't
yelling
know that
T2T.
Earl and Bruce are going to let us do that. Or Chase Rodman.
Chase Rodman will. He doesn't matter. I can do a better interview than Chase Rodman.
That's kind of rude to Chase.
Williams.
I mean, I just want them to hear it, so then we get more viewers. That's all I'm trying to do.
I understand that. I'm just like, I feel like attacking Chase. He's kind of tall. Like I can't really reach him. So
I'm kind of tall.
You are a linebacker. Anyway,
Hey, so seriously, we have some big stuff coming.
Yeah,
had a good phone call today. Maybe have some cool stuff in the works with some local tracks. Maybe some at track activities. We'll see. And then some big guests maybe next week. The Outlaws are coming to town, so we may have some.
Give us your guesses over the week.
Bigger. Yeah.
Comment
some guesses
over the week.
To who you
guesses
think
who we think we're going to lock down next week.
Might be able to get next week.
Yes.
We'll see.
Cool.
Or we'll go the opposite direction. I don't know.
We don't know.
We just won't have anybody on.
We'll have some iRacers on.
J-Mac. I like that.
Oh, okay.
Like
some Aussie love there.
Fun story. Jimmy and I watched him cooking like Vegemite one time.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know what he was cooking, but we definitely made eye contact to go with.
Yeah, we made
That's
he was cooking. So we were walking through the this was National Open a couple
before Kim shattered her wrist in a million pieces.
Yeah, this was
we were like walking through the haulers
and he was out on his
frying
stove,
shit up at 9:30 in the morning.
And he just we're walking through and we're like we just kind of it was kind of like I don't know, like two animals seeing each other in the wild, like they're like
we looked at each other. He looks up. We're like, all right, we gotta get out of here.
Do you think we could get Aaron Reitzel on a bicycle on the podcast?
Yeah, along with Wayne Johnson's here. Oh, yeah. I have a Wayne Johnson wing panel. Perfect. Good enough.
Yeah.
Tyler Icy's coming to PA. Shout out. We're gonna have to do something with him. If you didn't see it over there at Loudmouth Sports, we did a little trivia with him, and we're gonna probably do some stuff in the future. So definitely go and check them out. Go on our Facebook page.
By the way,
shut up, Chris. It was I didn't, whatever. Good.
Hey, Andy May said, I heard Jimmy's going to get Sheldon Haudenschild on a podcast.
Jimmy's
so I think what we do,
he's got the olive branch out.
If you ever do it, we'll intro him and he'll throw his helmet and it hits Jimmy. He goes out of screen and then everybody else does it but Jimmy.
That could be fun.
I like
Jimbo.
Jimmy's making.
Jimbo.
He got
I'm
the
making
olive branch
so
out
many
to everybody.
friends. Yeah, apparently.
Him and Danny are basically friends now.
We're the best of friends. He doesn't even know my name.
This is gonna be a fun year. Listen,
this is
boys,
gonna be fun. Yes,
I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna be around. Not going. I ain't going anywhere. Nobody knows what's going on yet, but I will be here.
Damn right. We got some big plans.
But we will not be here much longer. It's time to shut this puppy down.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
We're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys.
Thanks, Josh.